Young snipers used to mock her old rifle. Is that a museum piece? They laughed. But when the woman took one breath, one squeeze, and hit the target at 2,600 meters, the laughter stopped instantly. Because nobody knew. This woman had made shots at those distances before. Only there was no one left alive to tell about it. Welcome to Quiet Heroes. Before we begin this breathtaking story, tell me in the comments which city you are watching from today. And if you believe that true expertise comes with silence, hit that subscribe button. The forward operating base in northern Afghanistan was quiet in the thin mountain air of early morning. When the helicopter landed, the person who emerged wasn't what anyone expected. Thalia Blackwood stepped onto the gravel with a weathered rifle case slung over one shoulder and a small backpack over the other. Mid-30s, unremarkable build, her only distinctive feature was a network of faint scars running from her left temple into her hairline. Commander Ambrose Devlin greeted her with a curt nod. Glad you made it, though I wasn't sure you'd come after Kandahar. That's behind us now, she replied flatly. The assembled sniper team watched from the command tent with undisguised skepticism. Master Chief Riker Voss, the team's lead sniper, folded his arms across his chest. That's our secret weapon, he muttered. Looks like my high school librarian. Norse, his regular spotter, snorted. Maybe she's bringing us books on how to shoot better. Thalia heard them. She was meant to, but continued methodically unpacking her gear. The rifle she removed from its case looked nothing like the sleek tactical weapons the team carried. The stock was worn smooth from use. The barrel lacked the distinctive fluting of modern precision rifles, and the scope looked like something from another era. Riker couldn't contain himself. He approached, wearing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That's interesting equipment you've brought, he said, examining the rifle with theatrical politeness. Macmillan TAC 50, pretty old school. That scope looks like something my grandfather would have used in Vietnam. Thalia continued her methodical setup, checking each component with practiced hands. Caspian, the team's technology specialist, joined them. Does that thing even hold zero in these conditions? Our guys are running the new Barrett MRAD with digital wind mapping. I mean, at least tell me you've got the ballistic calculator app. She answered by pulling out a leather-bound notebook. Its pages dog-eared and filled with handwritten tables. The laughter that followed made Commander Devlin wince. These men are the best we have, he said quietly, pulling Thalia aside. But they don't know what I know. Are you sure about this? After Kandahar? I'm here, aren't I? She cut him off, her voice low but firm. Let's focus on the mission. The briefing was tense. Intelligence had located a high-value target, a bomb maker responsible for dozens of American casualties. But their window was closing. He would be in the open for only minutes before disappearing into Pakistan's tribal regions. The shot will be approximately 2,600 meters, Devlin explained, pointing to the map. Wind conditions are challenging. Impossible, you mean? Riker interrupted. With respect, sir, at that distance, with these crosswinds and the heat distortion in the valley, we're talking lottery odds. Devlin's eyes shifted to Thalia. That's why she's here. The silence that followed was broken only by Norse's incredulous laugh. You are joking, right? With that museum piece? Thalia closed her notebook and stood. We should move to position. First light gives us the best visibility before the heat builds. As the team gathered their gear, Caspian sidled up to Riker. $10 says she misses by 100 meters. You're on, Riker replied. I say 200. The rocky outcrop provided a perfect vantage point of the compound 2,600 meters away. The team set up their positions as dawn broke over the mountains, painting the landscape in gold and lengthening shadows. Thalia chose her spot away from the others, arranging her equipment with deliberate precision. Handmade tools, her worn notebook, and unusual ammunition with no manufacturer markings. Norse made a show of refusing to spot for her. No offense, but I work with Riker. We've been a team for 4 years. None taken, Thalia replied. The first words most of them had heard her speak. Caspian was busy setting up his advanced targeting system, a tablet-like device that calculated wind speed, temperature, humidity, and a dozen other variables affecting ballistics. Check this out, he called to the others, proudly displaying the screen. AI-assisted targeting, factors in bullet drop, spin drift, Coriolis effect, everything. Dahlia continued her preparations, making notes in her book using symbols that looked nothing like standard ballistic calculations. The radio crackled to life. Eagle, this is Nest. Target is expected on site within the hour. Confirm you are in position. Confirmed, Devlin responded. All elements ready. Riker settled behind his rifle, a state-of-the-art system with carbon fiber stock, fluted barrel, and digital scope displaying environmental readings directly in the viewfinder. Nice setup, Thalia commented, the first voluntary words she'd offered. Surprised, Riker nodded. Yeah, $35,000 of precision engineering. What's your glass? Modified, Dahlia said. I bet you did, Norse snorted. Minutes stretched into an hour, the sun climbed higher, and with it came the heat distortion that made distant targeting exponentially more difficult. Wind gusted unpredictably through the valley, sending dust devils spiraling across the barren ground. Movement! Caspian called suddenly, eyes fixed on his thermal imaging display. Southeast corner of the compound. All eyes turned to their scopes. A figure emerged briefly, then disappeared back into shadow. That's him, Devlin confirmed. Intelligence confirms target signature. Riker settled into position, adjusting his scope. Norse called out wind readings. 1, 8, 23 miles per hour. Variable direction. Barometric pressure dropping. Caspian glanced at his targeting system and frowned. 91% probability of miss flashed across his screen. The figure appeared again, moving quickly between buildings. Take the shot, Devlin ordered. Riker hesitated, his finger hovering over the trigger. Sir, with these conditions, I don't have a clean solution. The target was moving toward a waiting vehicle. Seconds remained before the opportunity would be lost. Commander Devlin's voice crackled over the radio. We're losing our window. Does anyone have the shot? Thalia quietly moved into position, her movements fluid and practiced. I have it, she said simply. The team erupted in laughter until Devlin silenced them with a sharp command. Let her try. Complete silence fell across the outcrop as Thalia settled behind her rifle. Without a spotter, she consulted her notebook, made a series of adjustments to her scope, and then closed her eyes briefly as if centering herself. She took one deep breath, exhaled halfway, and squeezed the trigger. The report echoed across the valley. For 2 full seconds, nothing happened. Then, through their scopes, they watched as the distant figure suddenly dropped. The radio crackled. Target eliminated. Clean shot. Norse lowered his spotting scope, his face pale. That's not possible. Caspian stared at his equipment in disbelief. My system calculated a 91% probability of miss. The variables were off the charts. Riker said nothing. He simply looked at Thalia with new eyes, then carefully approached her position and examined her rifle more closely. His trained eye now caught details he'd missed before. Custom trigger work, a hand-lapped barrel, proprietary glass in the scope with etched markings he didn't recognize. What is this? He asked, pointing to strange markings on the barrel. Before she could answer, a new voice crackled over a different frequency on Thalia's personal radio. Blackwood, confirmed status. The team exchanged glances. Blackwood wasn't the call sign they'd been given for her. Thalia keyed her radio. Stillwater asset confirms package delivered. Site secure. No complications. The change in Commander Devlin's demeanor was immediate and startling. The casual authority he'd maintained with the team vanished, replaced by something close to deference. Sir? Riker questioned, confused by the shift. Devlin looked at Thalia, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. Gentlemen, the commander said, you've been shooting with the legendary Ghost of Kandahar. The team stared at her in disbelief. That's not possible, Norse began. The Ghost was responsible for the longest confirmed kill in Afghanistan, plus those impossible shots in Mosul and other places. 12 confirmed kills, Devlin continued, all beyond standard operational parameters, all with the same rifle you just mocked as a museum piece. Caspian shook his head. But those were attributed to different snipers from different units. There's no way. There's every way, Thalia interrupted calmly. When operations don't officially exist, neither do their snipers. Images flashed through her mind. A moonless night in Kandahar province. The shot that changed the tide of a classified operation. The aftermath that had cost lives and forced her into the shadows. Your rifle, Riker said. Understanding dawning. It looks ordinary on purpose. Thalia nodded. The best weapons are the ones no one remembers seeing. From that day on, everything had changed. Mocking eyes now held respect. Dismissive comments turned into expressions of admiration. Will you teach us? Norse asked, swallowing his pride. How did you make those calculations? Thalia hesitated, then nodded. She opened her leather-bound book to reveal pages of complex formulas and observations. These account for atmospheric density changes throughout the bullet's flight path, she explained, pointing to one section. And these compensate for micro-terrain effects on wind patterns. Riker joined them, visibly struggling with his pride, but eventually acknowledging. I've been trying to make shots like that for 3 years. Never got past 2,100 meters with any consistency. It's not about the equipment, Thalia said, running her hand along her rifle's worn stock. It's about understanding that, at extreme distances, you're not just shooting through air. You're navigating a river of constantly changing conditions. Months later, a training facility nestled in the Nevada mountains received 4 new instructors. Their arrival was not announced. Their names did not appear on any official roster, but their impact was immediately felt. The legend of the Ghost of Kandahar evolved into whispers about the Ghost Team, though such rumors were officially dismissed as exaggeration and fantasy. In the glass case near the entrance to the facility's main building sat Thalia's rifle, the museum piece that had been so roundly mocked. Next to it hung a simple plaque that bore no name, only an inscription. It's not the weapon that makes the impossible possible. New recruits arrived regularly, each selected for different skills and attributes. Some came with advanced weapons and technology, others with more traditional equipment. All were initially skeptical of the training methods, the emphasis on reading landscapes instead of relying on technology, until they witnessed their first demonstration. Sometimes the deadliest weapon isn't the one you can see coming. Sometimes the real masters are the quiet ones who don't need to prove themselves. They only emerge when needed, do their work, and disappear again. Thalia Blackwood's story shows us that true expertise is found not in showmanship, but in silence. The best snipers aren't those with the highest technology, but those who can read the environment, who are patient, and most importantly, who don't feel the need to prove their abilities. Have you ever met someone like this? Someone who seemed ordinary but displayed extraordinary skill at a critical moment? Share their story in the comments. Subscribe to Quiet Heroes, because the greatest heroes are often the quietest ones. We'll see you in the next story.